Hey there, Heather Ho. There's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another Above the Rim basketball tournament. We are doing the 1987 tourney. We did the 83-84 tourney with North Carolina winning over Houston 83-83 when North Carolina beat Indiana. 84-85 Oklahoma over Illinois. 85-86 Syracuse over Bama. 88 through 91 were the 88 Oklahoma Sooners beat my 90 Razorbacks. 81-82 with Missouri beating North Carolina. 80-81 with Indiana over Oregon State. 35-79 set, we had 76 Indiana beat 76 North Carolina. 70-74 set had the 72 UCLA team beats 72 Jacksonville. 65-69 had the 65 Michigan squad beat the 66 Western Kentuckians. 51-64 we had the 61 St. Bonnie's shock the 63 Loyola team. So we're setting this up 86, 87. The top four teams in this season will get to the ultimate 64 team tournament, in which, we will see some fantastic matchups and all that. So we have four more seasons to go. This is the first one, 1987. All 64 teams that made the 1987 tournament are featured in the set. Okay, 30, 7, 5, 3. Everyone, one game and 64s and all that. Let's load. All right, so these are randomizations. Our first randomization is Wyoming versus Marist. And it's a win for Wyoming. Marist, is that the Rick Spitz team? Yep, I remember that. 20 points for Rick Spitz. 25 from Ferris Denbo. Deadbones. Art Fox, I don't think it's Rick Fox. That can't be Rick Fox. Reggie Fox. Yeah, I was thinking Rick Fox. No, he played for someone else. Next matchup, Georgia Southern versus Iowa, and Iowa crushes them. 16 from Newton for Southern. Iowa, 20 from Kevin Gamble, 20 from Marble. BJ Armstrong also played on that team, 7 points there. Austin Peay versus Santa Clara. Austin Peay with the big win. 36 from Mitchell in the win. 20 from Burley in the loss. Auburn versus Marshall. Auburn crushes Marshall. This was not, well, Chris Worth said was 25 for more. No Charles Barkley and no Chuck Person on that team. Marshall was 71 points, 24 from Henderson. Birmingham L Tech and BYU with the win. As Smith had 32 points off the bench in 32 minutes. The top points were 14 for White. This is, of course, the forward team of one Karl Malone. Kansas, Texas Christian. Kansas crushed by Texas Christian. 24 from Richard, 16 from Manning, 12 from Hunter. Of course, the next season, Danny Manning and the Miracles happened, but this one, they got beaten by Texas Christian. Syracuse, Houston. Syracuse, the runners up in real life, and they beat Houston 72-60. Wins a lot, 11 points. 18 points from Ronnie Cycli and 17 from Derek Coleman. Sherman Douglas with 6. 3 future NBAers. Bucknell, North Carolina A&T, and A&T wins 75-52. 25 from Williams, 12 from Butts. See more Butts? No. A&M versus LV. UNLV, the Reigning Rebels ran over A&M. 21 from Crite. 7 different LVers. Aaron Gideon and Banks. Georgia versus Temple. And Bill Cosby's team loses to Georgia. 21 from Anderson. 17 from Evans. Navy UTEP joined the Navy. And they lose to UTEP. 22 from Jackson. Tim Hardaway, 15 points. That can't be Mitch Bridgman, right? Because Mitch Bridgman, wasn't he a Kansas guy? 14 points from David Robinson. And 9 rebounds. And 7 blocks. But they lose. Navy, yeah, this was David Robinson's senior season. This can't be Richmond. Mike Richmond, not Mitch Richmond. Yeah. Navy. Well, David Robinson was picked first overall by San Antonio in the draft, but unfortunately, at the time, you had to have a 2-year Navy commitment before you could play major sports and all that. And the San Antonio owner said, "We waited 14 years for a player like this. What's two more?" And the patience was worth it. Notre Dame Central Michigan. The Irish survived 57-56. Dan Marley played for that team, 21 points. 19 from Doc Rivers. Darrell Royal, 12 points. Not really a lot of great players for the Irish, but they survived. Middle Tennessee, Oklahoma, and OU needed overtime. A lot of overtime. It's 112-109 over Middle Tennessee, taking opponent at the 3-point range. Horace Gray with 11 points. 34 from Kennedy, 27 from McAllister. No Oklahoma players went down. Turnstile got fouled out with 21 points. Henry with 21. Yeah. Illinois, Ohio State, the battle of the Big Ten. And OSU with the win, 96-81. 31 from Hobson. 27 from Ken Norman. A couple years later, they would do a lot better. Kendall Gill would be a star. DePaul, Michigan. Sees DePaul with the win, 96-88. 21 from Cummings, 20 from Rod Strickland, future Bullet. 25 from Gary Grant. Glenn Rice with 10 points. A couple years later, Michigan would win the national championship. Duke, Northeastern. And Duke loses to Northeastern, 81-79. I know the first name you think is Reggie Lewis, but no, he was drafted by Boston. Ready? No, that could be right. 25 points from LaFleur, 17 from Denny Ferry. Tommy Amaker, 10 points. That'll be the Scrabble board. They win. Cleveland State, Providence. Providence using the three balls to their advantage. Well, 93-65. Cleveland State couldn't do it. Buzz McFadden with 19 points. 21 from Kipfer. And due to Billy Donovan, went 0 for 4 3-pointers with only 11 points, right with 16. But yeah, those two said 3-pointers and all that to his advantage. Purdue, St. John's. Purdue wins 75-71. 22 from McCants. 22 from Walter Glass from St. John's. Mark Jackson still on that squad. Florida Fairfield sees Florida crushed for the Stags. 24 from Ferdinand Maxwell, future Rocket. Fuentes as well, 18 points. Kentucky, Indiana. Wow, I can't believe they got drawn against each other. And Indiana, the 87 champs in real life, won 86-76. 20 from Oliver Keysmart with 18. 18 from Davender. Yeah, not a lot of big names for Kentucky. UAB, Arizona. Arizona wins 86-67. Sean Elliott with 23 points. Kenny Lofton with 14 points. Yeah, he played basketball for Arizona as well as baseball. Judd Buechler, 7 points. No Steve Kerr on this team. UAB 16 from Foster. Salvern versus West Virginia. Sees a narrow win for West Virginia. 27 from Shaw. 20 from Florent for Salvern. Clemson, Georgetown have to face each other. And Clemson with the win, 89-72. 16 from Tight. Eldon Campbell, 16 points in 29 minutes off the bench. Horace Grant, 10 points. 19 from Williams. Charles Smith had 6. They didn't really have the superstars. Virginia, Missouri sees Missouri went 82-79. 33 from Chivas. There's Church as well, 9 points. 35 from Kennedy doing his job. They didn't really take a lot of 3-pointers. UCLA, Pennsylvania. UCLA wins in overtime, 87-82. The Quakers almost pulled it off. 24 from Bromwell. 23 from Reggie Miller. Yes, Raggie Miller in his final season. Pooh Richardson, 18 points as well. One foul out, and that was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tulsa, North Carolina. Tulsa was in for 12 points for Moore. 21 from Wolf, 17 from Kenny Smith, and J.R. Reed with 16. So you got a friend in me. San Diego, NC State. Valvano and crew narrowly beating the Toreros. 21 from Thompson. 19 from Shackelford. Finito Negro, 4 points. 20 points from Brown off the bench. GT Xavier sees GT win 92-73. 24 from Liverpool, 19 from Farrell. Hammonds. Well, Xavier, no, but that can't be Barry Larkin. Nah. New Orleans, Western Kentucky, and Western loses to New Orleans. 23 from Eagles. Frank with 18. Alabama, LSU, and LSU with the win. 19 from Vargas, 18 from Wilson. Yeah, the team that came in from an 11 seed. They were like Farber 16, Connor 17. Iowa State Pitt. Pitt with the win 80-66, 20 from Aiken, Charles Smith 10 points. 13 from Purvis. Jerome Lane standing in. Jerome 11 points himself. And Wichita, Kansas State, the Battle of the States. K-State with the win 81-71. Coleman with 25. Mitch Richmond with 10. I knew he went somewhere if that was K-State. 20 points from Santos. So, round of 32, Georgia BYU. BYU crushing Georgia in the fine powder. Doing their job. 23 from Anderson. BYU had a team effort. Syracuse UCLA, big matchup. And Syracuse sends Reggie packing with 20 points. Pooh had 12. 21 from Cycley, 21 from Sherman. Derek with 15. LSU UTEP. And LSU loses to UTEP. 17 from Wilson. 15 from Gates. Mitch Hardaway, 11 points. Kansas State, Georgia Tech. And GT with the win. 23 from Farrell, 20 from Neal. 16 from Mitch the bitch, but he loses. Iowa OSU, the Battle of the Big Ten. And Iowa with the win, 194, 21 from Marble. Kevin Gamble at 17, BJ with 10, 14 off the bench by Mo, 35 from Hobson, 17 from White. Purdue, North Carolina. And NC does not win. Purdue wins 98-91, 31 from Lewis, 19 from Mitchell, 22 from Joe Wolf, Jerry with 18, Kenny Swift with 15. The future NBAers. Notre Dame, Auburn. Notre Dame with the big win over Auburn, 29 from Royal, 26 from Duck Rivers. 426 for Auburn. Chris Mars with 6. Wyoming, Florida. And Wyoming loses to Florida, 82-77, 24 from Vernon, 33 from Lechner. Dembo 18. New Orleans, Texas Christian. And it's New Orleans who will move on to the Sweet 16. Texas Christian, 18 from Holcomb, 15 from Granderson. 18, the Battle of North Carolina. It's 18 versus State. And it's State with the 89 with the win. 19 from Drummond. Del Negro, 8 points as a leader. Now, 14 from Gale Cox with 11. Oklahoma Providence. Providence with the big win. Oklahoma 27 from Kennedy, 21 from McAllister, Graham with 15. 17 from Brooks. Billy Donovan with 10 points in 39 minutes. Brooks 5 3-pointers. Clemson versus Northeastern. And Clemson with the win, 88-78. Pryor with 21. Horace Grant with only 11 points. 3 turnovers. 19 by Eldon Campbell. It's surprised he's not the starter. 25 from Reggie Lewis. Well, I guess he did play that one game. I thought he was there. Missouri DePaul. And DePaul with the win, 74-62. 19 from Strickland, 18 from Edwards, 17 from Chavis for Missouri. LV versus Pitt. And a big win for LV, 97-86. 23 from Gilliam, 23 from Banks, 34 from Jerome Lane. Send it in, Jerome. He did in a loss. Arizona, West Virginia. And it's Arizona sneaking in 63-61. Charlotte at 60 points. Katie Lofton 10. 16 from Yearwood. Prove 11. Austin Peay versus Indiana. The champs from Right, and the champs were here 120.74, 22 from Mitchell, 43 from Steve Elvert. He played every minute and got only one foul. Keith Murray had 18 points. Sweet 16, Syracuse, Iowa, and Syracuse loses. Syracuse had a chance to take down Iowa and they failed. 18 from Cycling, 10 from Sherman Douglas, coming with 10 and 5 fouls. 18 from Low House, 18 from Low. Iowa shocks the world and takes down Syracuse. Providence GT, Providence with the 3-pointers. And 3-pointer U loses to Georgia Tech. 16 from Brooks, 16 from Donovan. They got some good 3-pointers, 7 for 15. Georgia Tech went 1 for 5. 20 points from Farrell, 17 from Hammonds. UTEP versus New Orleans. And New Orleans wins 96-75. So they're in the quarterfinals. 32 from Eccles, 22 from Jones. This would be huge if they could do it. Sando, 23 from UTEP. Oh, man. LV versus BYU. LV wins 97-91. The battle of the Western teams. 26 from Gilliam, 21 from Banks, 20 from Smith. Indiana versus NC State is next on the list. And Indiana wins 84-80. It was close. 20 from Thomas, Smith with 16, Alfred with only 12 this time. Bolton 17, Del Negro 9 points. Arizona versus Purdue. And Arizona cannot believe it. Arizona loses to Purdue. They had 17 from Elliott Lofton, only 4 points in 30 minutes. 24 from Lewis. DePaul, Florida. And Florida with the win. The Gator Chomps Trent is 14, 12 points by Lett in 11 minutes. 17 from Edward Strickland with 12. Florida with the win. Notre Dame versus Clemson. And it was Notre Dame losing to Clemson. 17 from Stevenson, 25 from Horace Grant, 17 from Middle. Onto the quarterfinals, best of 3. New Orleans versus Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech sweeps New Orleans out of it. 25 from Hammonds, 25 from Farrow. So GT will make the semifinals. 23 from Eccles. Indiana, Florida. Indiana should be able to win. And they don't. Indiana shocked by the Gators. Lawrence Schwintes and Moden. 26 from Alford, 16 from Smart, but they lose the game. Florida somehow. Do they use the 3-pointers for advantage? Not as much, but yeah, Florida shocks Indiana to make it to the semifinals. Iowa, Clemson. We got game 3. And it will be a win for the Clemson. So the Clemson Tigers are in the Final Four. 24 from Horace Grant. Eldon Campbell, 8 points. So Clemson, Smart. 17 from Marble. B.J. Armstrong with 7. Campbell with 8. Purdue, LV. I think LV looks pretty good. And LV does. They shock. And all. No more. Purdue loses 19 from Gilliam. 14 from Banks. I think UNLV was in the Final Four, weren't they? Was 18. Yeah, it was UNLV, Providence, Indiana, and Syracuse in the Final Four. LV will face Clemson, Florida, Georgia Tech. 4 very good basketball schools. And Clemson wins game 5 over UNLV, 93-91. 21 from Grant. Eldon Campbell, 15 points in 18 minutes. 33 from Banks. So UNLV tried their best. Clemson gets to the finals. I don't think they've been a top 2. Have Clemson had a team? I don't think so. But yeah, the 87. Well, 87 LV will take 3rd place automatically because they were a Final Four team in real life. Florida versus Georgia Tech. And Florida sweeps through Georgia Tech easily, 81-68 in the final. 18 from Ferdinand Maxwell Schwintes, 13. So Florida is moving on. Hammonds for 26. Tom Hammonds. So Georgia Tech will take 4th place after all that. Florida, Georgia Tech. Now it's Florida versus Clemson. None of them have had a sniff of it, of anything. So if Florida or Clemson will win this tournament. Clemson, how did they get here? Well, they've been nearly flawless. They took down Georgetown, they took down Northeastern, they took Notre Dame down 2 out of 3 against Iowa, and then they actually were up 2-0 and UNLV and almost choked it, but they did it. Horace Grant and Eldon Campbell have done wonderful things. And how about those pesky Florida Gators? They've been like almost flawless. They took down Fairfield, Wyoming, DePaul, Indiana. That was a huge one. And then Georgia Tech. Vernon Maxwell, Dwayne Shintas, the heroes. I think we know who wants to win. And we have a win. And it's the Gators. Go Gators. 23 from Maxwell, 17 from Bowden. And the Florida Gators win the 1987 championship, taking down Clemson. So good for Florida. But Florida, Clemson, LV, and Georgia Tech being the teams of effort. Clemson 22 from Horace Grant. And LD Campbell trying his best, but Florida sneaks it off. So they are the champs of 1987. What a job they did to get this far. But they did it. They took down Clemson. They took down everybody. Just notes Clemson, the stats 19 points per game for Horace Grant. He started 15 games. Jenkins 16. Marshall started 13. It was like Alden Campbell started a pair of games with death penalty. And Florida, 20 points per game for Maxwell Moden with 14.9, Shintis, Lawrence, and then it was basically Cabers, Lawrence, and McCleary. So it was a list of who would be the fifth starter and all that. And the Gators did it. So that's it. Hey, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.